Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to share with you our budget plans for 2021. I can't believe it's finally the end of 2020 and we're looking ahead towards 2021. So I like to create a budget every single month in Excel. I'm a spreadsheet Excel nerd and I share my monthly budget here on YouTube, and I have a budget spreadsheet that I've made available on my shop. I have a monthly budget which I'll have a link to down below, but then I also think that it's important to do an annual budget so that you can look at the year as a whole and kind of just like forecast your plans for the year and kind of gives you some direction of what you're wanting to work on for goals for the year. So I have a monthly budget template up on my shop, and I also have an annual budget template, which is what I'll be showing you today. So you can grab both of those on my Etsy shop if you're wanting to check it out. I know it's the beginning of a new year, so if you haven't started budgeting yet, now is a great time to get started. I have tons of videos here on my channel all about budgeting, so definitely subscribe so you won't miss any new ones. And you can also check out a bunch of other budgeting videos that I have here on my channel. I recently did a video sharing our 2021 financial goals, so I'll leave that up above. So you're going to see some of those goals worked into our budget spreadsheet. So let's get into it. So the first section that we have here in our budget is income, and I've divvied this out for every month of the year. So my husband Jacob, he works in marketing and he's been at his job for 3.5 years now, so he's still doing that. And then I do work for an employer. I work a whole 5 hours a week for an employer doing accounting, and I worked for them for now 4 years. And I worked before I had a baby. I had a baby in May of 2020. As you can see, my living room looks like a daycare, but baby's taking a nap, and this was just like the best case scenario, and the light is just like great out this window, so took advantage of it. So my big goal for my business this year is to make $100,000, and the money that you see here in our income section is all take-home pay, so what we will take home after taxes, after insurance, investments, all of those sorts of things. So I already know that January and February are going to be a little bit higher months, but that's also because I'm trying to supplement a little bit of loss of income that we'll be expecting. And by loss, I just mean a reduction in take-home pay. So we have a high deductible health plan, and with that, you compare it with an HSA, a health savings account, and that is a really great tax-advantaged account to save for medical expenses. So they do have a cap on that at $7,200. And so we've decided to max it out as soon as we can at the beginning of the year, and that gets taken out of Jacob's paycheck. So basically for January and February, he's going to be taking home very little because we're just going to be putting everything we can to the HSA. So that's why I've decided to take home a little bit more from my business for those months to help supplement our income. So $7,000 for those months, then back down to $5,000. The way that I structure my income for my business is I pay myself a salary every month out of my business, and then every quarter I give myself a bonus based on the profits that I've received. So that has seemed to work a little bit better for how I've been able to run my business. So I know that April should be a decent bonus month, I'm expecting. And then after that is all kind of just guesses for the remaining 3 quarters of the year, but I'm hoping that I could be at like a standard salary of $5,000 and then give myself a bonus of $6,000, and then stay steady at $6,000, and then give myself a bonus of $7,000, and then stay steady at $7,000. So that would be a great income growth for my business, and this is after tax. I will be paying quarterly tax payments. Don't you worry, I definitely pay a lovely amount in taxes. So all that to be said, you can see our total income here. We use a zero-based budget, which means all of our income equals all of our expenses. So this is basically how much money we have to work with every month. So now going through our expenses, first we have our tithe. We believe in giving to our church and other organizations. We are Christians, and so our tithe here is calculating 10% of our income. And then we also give $78 a month to African New Life, so you'll see that in there as well. Basically, for all of these normal expenses, this basically looks the same every month for the few expenses here. Next we have is our mortgage at a standard $23.9860. We also have an HOA at $121.46. Utilities is about $200 a month. Our utilities include like water, sewer, garbage, electricity, all those sorts of things. Then we have internet at a standard $49.95. And phones, this is for my cell phone and my husband's phone at $117.33. Then we have insurance. This is car insurance at around $112. This has actually definitely gone down since the pandemic. And so we used to pay like almost like $160, but it's gone down because we don't drive really anywhere anymore. So this may actually go up as hopefully you guys will be able to have a little bit more normal life in 2021. I'm hoping that by summer 2021 things will be better, but we'll see. Okay, next we have is life insurance. My husband and I, we each have a term life insurance policy at $55. Then we have groceries at $3.50. And so like I shared earlier, we are a household of 3. So me, my husband, and our now 7-month-old baby. And so now that he started a little bit of solids, we recently increased our grocery budget from $300 to $350. Next we have is eating out at $100 a month. We haven't been out to a restaurant since February. Again, really hopeful for that in 2021, but we have done some like takeout and those sorts of things that have contributed to our $100 allotted of eating out. Then we have gas, and we used to spend $150 a month on gas, and now it's closer to like $50 because we don't really drive anywhere. So $50 a month. I now work from home, so whenever Jacob's office opens back up, they are remote through at least June. So could be half the year that our gas will still be $50, and who knows how much longer that'll be. So I have it budgeted at about $50 every month. Then we have miscellaneous. We always have a miscellaneous buffer because there's always something random that comes up during the month. So $100. Then we have some investment things that we are working on, and I have this in the expense section because this is money that gets sent off to a different account. I have a savings section down below that you'll see, but that's money that I'm keeping track of like in my personal savings accounts, but this is money that gets sent off even though they are savings items. So first we have is $50 a month toward our Peter fund. So our son's name is Peter, but we have decided to open up a brokerage account and save $50 a month for Peter that we can then gift him later on in life. We would love to help him with getting his first car when he's 16, as well as saving for a like wedding for him, and also helping him with like closing costs on a house. So we are saving $50 a month into this account that we can gift to him later, which I'm excited about. Next we have is our Roth IRA. So a big goal that we have this year is really investing. We are now completely consumer debt free. We've paid off all of our student loans. We have an emergency fund. We have our house. And so our big goals are investing this year. I don't know why I did this. Okay. So we plan to max out 2 Roth IRAs this year, and that is $1,000 a month, $500 into each Roth IRA because the limit for 2021 is $6,000 each. So makes it a very easy number, $1,000 each month. I already have that set up to be auto drafted out of our account on like the same day every month, and we're just going to do dollar cost averaging and just contribute to it no matter what the market's doing. We're going to contribute $1,000 a month. We also are investing a little more than like 15% of our overall household income. So anything else that we need to invest besides maxing out the Roth IRA, we have coming out of Jacob's paycheck to his 401k. So he's also taking home less, like his net pay, because we have so much more going to his 401k, which you don't see here because that would be included in like the net take-home pay that he has up in like the income section, because his take-home pay is less whatever he contributes to his 401k. Next we have is college. We're also saving $200 a month into Peter's college savings plan with his 529, and we opened this up like a couple months after he was born. Next we have is our other big goal that we're working on this year, and that is paying down our mortgage balance. So we bought our house in September of 2019, and we only put 5% down on our house, and with that we incurred PMI, private mortgage insurance. Now for us it's actually only $95 a month, which isn't very much, but it would be nice not to have. And with how much the market's appreciated in the last year, we're actually fairly close to getting 20% equity in our home. And I've talked to our mortgage broker so many times about this, but whenever we do reach that 20%, we just need to get an appraisal for our house, and then they will automatically take off PMI. So we will need to pay for an appraisal, but we want to get up to that 20% equity of what our house is like the market value would be, which I've been tracking through Zillow. I know it's not the most reliable, so I think more when I see that we're at like, when I think we're at like 20 22%, I'll probably ask for an appraisal just to be more on the safe side. So that being said, this is where we're putting every extra dollar this year is to extra mortgage, and that is like the other big goal that we're working on besides just continuously investing. So as you can see, like during these lower months when Jacob isn't taking home much of a paycheck because of the HSA, we're putting like $500, $375. But as you can see, as the year goes on and hopefully like my business income will continue to increase, we'll be able to put some more to our mortgage. So our plan for right now is to put money to our mortgage at least until we're able to remove PMI. And then I think we'll reevaluate and see what we want to do with our extra funds. I'm anticipating hopefully by like the summertime, we'll be able to reach that 20% equity and get PMI knocked off. And at that point, we're going to have to figure out what we want to do with this extra money. So we can either continue to put more to our mortgage balance to pay that off, but I don't know, I'm still struggling with it of what exactly we want to do. So we could do that with paying down the mortgage, or we also could look at investing even more. So I don't think that we're 100% decided yet. I think it's going to be once we reach that 20% equity. For right now, that's what we're focused on, and I'll definitely keep you guys updated of our plan once we do reach that goal and what we'll plan to do with our extra cash at that point. Which also, I am very grateful that we're at this point, that we've like paid off all of our debt and we have an emergency fund, and that like we get to have this extra cash sitting here that every month that we get to decide what we want to do with it. So I'm definitely so grateful for that. Okay, the next section that we have is our savings. So we have $150 going into Jacob's personal savings. And so the way that we work like our personal spending money is I love having it in savings. And this is like our sinking fund area too, as many people would refer to it as. But basically this way we can decide if we either want to save up that money every month or spend it. So Jacob gets $150. We used to each get $100, but Jacob asked for more like during the pandemic, and it's been a hard year, and I'm like, that's fine. Like, you need to enjoy yourself. So $150 of personal spending money for Jacob, and then I actually lowered mine to $75 because I've barely spent mine, because all the money I spent before was like going out to eat with friends, random Target shopping trips, and just things, pedicures, things that I don't do anymore because of the pandemic. So $75 is what I have allotted for myself. Then we have a monthly extra giving of $50. And this is something that we have incorporated in our budget, which allows us to say yes to giving opportunities if they come up. And then we've instituted a new fund in our budget for gifts, and we're putting $50 a month into that fund. Basically, now that we're at this stage in life, we have a lot of friends who are having babies, getting married, doing all these things. And so I've noticed like in 2020, I was buying a whole bunch of like baby gifts for friends, which is awesome. But it was just coming out of Miscellaneous, and once you realize that you have a reoccurring expense, it's best to just have it as its own line item. So that's what I've done with gifts for 2021. And that way we'll have money set aside that we can use to get friends gifts for these fun seasons of life. And yeah, I love being able to do that. Next we have is vacation. We're putting $400 a month into vacation. You guys, I am praying that 2021 will allow us to take a vacation. We have a trip booked in May to go to Hawaii, but I'm honestly not so sure that it'll happen. The good news is that I can move the tickets, like our airline tickets and everything. So maybe by fall. Jacob's 30th birthday is in October, which is crazy, and maybe we could go like for his birthday instead. And honestly, once things are normal again, you can catch me at like Hawaii in October, Disneyland in November, New York City in December. Like, I'm gonna go everywhere all the time. So we've been saving up money in our vacation fund because we want to be able to take these trips when we feel comfortable, and we want to continue to do that in 2021 as well. So I'm really hoping for a lot of good trips that we can take this year. We have the Alaska Airlines credit card, so we have miles available and also a companion fare for places to go. So we definitely want to use that this year. Okay, next we have is Christmas. We are putting $100 a month into our Christmas fund, and that way by this time next year we'll have all the money set aside in our Christmas fund ready to be spent on gifts and other Christmas festivities. And we'll have a 1.5-year-old, and it'll be fun to get him little gifts. We didn't really get him much this year besides like little things that he just needed. So that'll be fun for next year. Then we are also starting a medical fund this year for 2021. We're putting $100 a month into the medical fund. Like I said, we're going to be on a high deductible plan for 2021, and we have that HSA, which allows us to use for qualified medical expenses, but you can also use it really as an investment vehicle, because with the HSA, you put money into it tax-free. You can then invest those dollars and it will grow tax-free, and then you can take the money out tax-free to use on qualified medical expenses. So it has a huge triple tax advantage, and honestly, I just rather would not spend it, because you can use those dollars up through retirement. Like, it's not like a use it or lose it like an FSA is. So we would love to just keep that as an investment if we can. And so instead, we're going to put $100 into our medical fund, and that way, anytime we may need to go to the doctor for something, we'll use this money instead rather than our HSA. We'd love to just not touch the HSA. If something catastrophic happens and we end up, reaching our max out of pocket for our high deductible plan, yeah, we'll pull it from the HSA, and it's nice knowing that we have that money there, but we'd rather not if we don't have to. With our high deductible plan, all sort of preventative care is covered, and this would just be any other sort of doctor's visit that we may need to go to. Like, I already know I have a dermatologist appointment scheduled in March, and so I'm going to have to pay for that out of pocket. So knowing that we have the money here in this sinking fund is a bit more reassuring, and hopefully we won't have to touch the HSA. Next we have is Carb Maintenance. We put $75 a month into Carb Maintenance. This is to maintain our vehicles. Again, we don't really drive anywhere, so there's not a whole lot to maintain, but it's there when we need it. We are also putting $350 a month into a house maintenance fund, and this will cover any sort of house maintenance or repairs that we may have for the year. We have decided on this number by taking 1% of our house value and saving that much each year. So 1% divided by 12 is how much we save each month, which actually, now that our house value has gone up, I should probably reevaluate that and maybe increase it a little bit. But overall, like, our house is pretty new and we haven't had to have any sort of repairs for our home, but we want to have that just in case something does happen, and we will have some sort of repair eventually. I know we will. Okay, next we have is household. We put $100 a month into a household fund, and this is to cover things like toilet paper, paper towels, soap, detergent, those sorts of things for the household. So I also like putting this in a savings account, because some months we may not spend anything and some months we may have a big Costco haul. So I like keeping it in a savings account so it kind of evens out through the months. Next we have is our baby fund. We put $100 a month into a baby fund. This is to cover all sort of expenses for our son Peter. Things like clothes, toys, diapers, all those sorts of baby expenses. So here you can see the total of our sinking funds, and then we have a zero balance check here. So this is checking the total of our savings and expenses to the total that we have for our income, and it is zero, which means we have a zero-based budget. And this is what we are looking at for 2021. Basically, everything we're anticipating being really similar throughout the months, and the only thing that's going to vary is obviously our income varies a little bit every month because I am self-employed, and with that, the money that we are planning to put extra to our mortgage principal is going to vary every month. So that's really the big difference here. But I love being able to look at my whole annual budget and see like how much we're able to put towards the mortgage. Like right now I have forecasted at $24,400 that we plan to put towards the mortgage, and we'll see how that ends up working out. But I would highly recommend budgeting by the month, every single month, and also budget by the year, and just have an overall like big picture of what you're wanting to do with your money for the year. So again, if you want to check out the budget template here, you can get that on my shop. I will have a link to it down below. You can check out, I would highly recommend the annual and also the monthly budget templates so that you can get your budget started for 2021. So I know we're all ready for a fresh start and a new year. And with that, I hope that you guys have a great Christmas. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching my videos this year and just like being a part of this community. I'm so grateful for you guys. And while it's been a rough year, it's also been like a really good year. And I'm so thankful for that. So thanks so much for hanging out. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.
I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go out.